Hello everyone, today I'll show you some different raw gold farming spots that you can do in the Wrath of the Lich King pre-patch. This will be useful for those of you that don't want to spend time going to the auction house to post the different things that you farm, but also for the upcoming fresh servers where it might be difficult to sell your items. To make this farm as efficient as possible, you either need to be a tank or a class with a lot of AoE damage. In Netherstorm, there's an area with a lot of links. These you can easily stack together and probably pull around 5 to 7 at the same time. The main reason for why I like to kill these is because they have a high chance to drop 2 different grey items and these windows for a decent amount. On top of this, if you do this farm, make sure to have skinning, because this will overall increase the gold that you make per hour. But for those of you that don't have skinning, there's a way better spot for you to do in Netherstorm. At this location, you can easily pull 5 to 10 at the same time, and the good thing about killing these is that they always drop raw silver, but also have a high chance to drop cloth. You will most likely need to be a class with a tank specialization to make this as efficient as possible. Also because if you're far away, they will start to throw rocks at you. So if you're for example a mage, you will take heavy damage when you try to do Blizzard. The main reason for why I like this farm is because it's so crowded with these monsters. So if you run in a circle, they will simply have respawned by the time that you get back to your starting point. So you never have to wait for respawns at this location. In negrand, there are so many different locations where you find wormholes. These also drop raw silver and a lot of cloth. One way to stack them together fairly easy is simply just to mount up and run into one of the buildings. This will line of sight any of the range attacks and make it easier for you to stack them together. The downside of this farm is definitely the wormhole shamans. These will once in a while try to heal themselves, but also the other targets. So you need to prioritize killing the shamans first, else you will not be able to pull this many targets at the same time. If you feel comfortable with your character, but you're also capable of killing more targets at the same time, then I have 4 different spots that you can do in Shadowmoon Valley. The first spot that I show you right now is near the Black Temple. But you need to be aware of one thing when you do this farm, simply the big Demon Hunter elite. It's important you don't pull this, as it can screw up your pull, also because this target will do a lot of damage. If it's the first time that you're here and your gear isn't that great, then I don't recommend you to pull this many. However, I'm able to pull this many targets as a green and blue geared paladin. The downside of this farm is that these targets have a dash ability, so if you play as a ranged DPS, I don't recommend you this spot, simply because they will sprint to you in next to no time, so even as a mage it might be difficult to AoE farm these. But as any tank, I definitely recommend you to check out this spot. A lot of raw silver, cloth, and even a decent chance to get high level items that you can winter for at least a couple of gold. If you ever need to wait for respawns or there's other people at this location, then you can always just go to the other side of Black Temple. Over here there will be a lot of other enemies that you can pull at the same time. Just be aware of one thing, some of these enemies will be casters, so you need to get around a corner to stack them together. This will line of sight any of the shadow balls, making it easier for you to kill all of them at the same time. The loot from these is pretty similar to the demon hunters that we just killed. Raw silver, cloth, and some high level items that you can winter. The next spot will definitely be a bit more difficult, also because you will be pulling more targets compared to any of the other 2 spots that I just showed you in Shadowmoon Valley. Why this is probably my most favorite area is because you're capable of pulling many targets at the same time. Another positive thing is that this area is crowded with enemies. So even when you do a big pull, you can probably do 4 or 5 more of these pulls before you have killed all the enemies at the area. So the respawn time should be faster compared to your killing speed, making this a great way to farm gold in the pre-patch. The last gold farming spot that I like to use in Shadowmoon Valley takes place at the center. There's many buildings here that you can use to line of sight all the different enemies. This farming location can be done as many different classes, as long as you either have AoE or cleave damage, or maybe even a tank specialization. But I definitely don't recommend you any of these spots if you play a class that mainly does single target damage. If you would like to level fast in the pre-patch, or maybe even in Wrath of the Lich King, then make sure to check the description below the video. In the description there will be a link to a webpage, and on this webpage you can download different leveling add-ons. But yeah, as always, thank you so much for watching and have an amazing day. Peace!